Evening, good afternoon, whatever it may be for the rest of you. Welcome to another episode of Team Green Fishing. Hopefully I'll be able to post this one within this month, some point in time. I've got kind of a bad habit of not posting regularly, and I apologize about that. And I want to thank my beautiful camera girl and significant other, green girl / former camera girl, for taping this video. So today what I want to go ahead and do is I actually have two Monster Bass boxes to go over with you and one mystery tackle box. So one of these was actually a Christmas present. I got this for a Christmas present, as well as another Walmart brand one, which was pretty awesome. I really love that one too. So I'm going to go over some of these boxes and just show you what's in it. One of these is a November and the other one is a December box. We've gone into January, so I should be receiving my January box here pretty soon too. I need to make this video because I need to put everything into my tackle box over here. As you can see, my stuff is everywhere, so I'm trying to get that all taken care of so we can actually go fishing and use it and enjoy it. Anyway, so the first one I'm going to do is going to be the Mystery Tackle Box MTV, which this is a great brand. You see this thing all over YouTube, you see it all over other fishing pages, Instagram, and all that. Which so far out of Monster Tackle Box and this one and the Walmart brand, honestly, Monster Tackle Box is a good brand, but it's not my favorite. I'm more partial to the Monster Tackle Box and even the Walmart brand one that they have there, Mystery Tackle Box. That was one of my favorites by far. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this one. I'm not sure what month this is. I believe this is actually just box one out of the one, because she actually got this from Walmart as well. You can get the Mystery Tackle Box and the Walmart brand Mystery Tackle Box. There is usually like $25 or something like that. I like this box. Don't get me wrong, I really do, but I have my preferences. Okay, so the first thing that you notice with this box is the Big Bite Baits Pro Series. It's a trick stick, 5-inch, which is actually a pretty cool color. I haven't used this one before. So I'll go ahead and give this one a try too. This is a nice little bait. You can use this with Texas rig, Carolina rig, or even a drop shot. I'm more partial to using, I don't use drop shots because usually that's for more of like a bass boat style fishing. I don't have a bass boat, I have a bayliner, a ski and fishing boat, which doesn't have a trolling motor or fish finder on it at the moment. So I just use Texas rig, and I'll go around docks and that type of thing if I can, or I'll just do mostly bank fishing, to be honest with you. So that works great for bank fishing. And the next one I've got is a Z-Man. It's a scented jerk shad electric chicken is this one, which is actually pretty cool. It's almost got like this kind of look like a powdery, almost like an oily scent to it that's added into the package. It's white and green, kind of represent a shad, which honestly this would be great for a drop shot. I'm not sure about a Texas rig. I've tried it with a Texas with these before, but I didn't really mess around with it too much. I didn't have really any luck with it, but I think that was mostly based on location. And also the way you use that for your trick, like your technique. There we go, that's the word I'm looking for. So the next one is one of my favorites actually, not necessarily this brand, but this style of bait, which is KVD Perfect Plastics. It's a rodent style green pumpkin, which is actually more of a kind of a crawfish style, which I love using crawfish, and I love using like the lizard. Those are absolutely killer when it comes to Texas rig fishing with those. This is a 6-pack and they're 4 inches. So if you have anything for soft plastics in your tackle box, highly recommend these. Highly recommend. There was a couple of days in a row where I went out in the summertime, and as soon as it would hit the water and drop down to the bottom, I'd already have a fish on the hook. I just couldn't set the hook fast enough with these things. Now, one of my weakness points is top water fishing. I'm not gonna lie to you, I haven't really experimented too much with it, and one thing I like about these tackle boxes or these mystery boxes is they kind of force you to go outside of your comfort zone. So it's also another good thing. But Another one is Abrogast. It's Bait of Champions top water bait. Now this is actually, it looks kind of, it reminds me of the old classic style baits when they were big, bulky, and had a lot of shine to them. Now this is, it's a pretty cool looking bait. Obviously top water though. It's meant to kind of just sit there and jerk every once in a while and it makes a big splash. Kind of like a frog would or something like that on the top of the water. And I've seen some fish videos where they just explode on these things on the top water, and it's so cool. But I've yet to catch one like that. So hopefully this summer I'll have a trolling motor and we can hit some brush and do that. That would seem pretty awesome. So the next thing I've got in this box, and that'll pretty much polish it off, is going to be Sticky's Finely Crafted Hooks. It's a 1/0 wacky rig drop shot style hook. That's the packaging, and I'll go ahead and take one of these bad boys out of here and show you real fast. Now, like I was saying before, drop shot is not something I've really messed with. I've tried it a couple of times, mostly with like jigs for crappie fishing. So I really haven't messed with it too much. So I'm going to try to reach out of my comfort zone this summer and the spring and go out of my way to make sure I try it. So that's the hook you're looking at right there. So your bait's going to sit right here on that one and be kind of just straight out from there. So it gives you plenty of space to put that bait on there. So this will do it for the amount of tackle anyways that's in this box, this first one. What I like about the box also is it comes with a what's inside list. It gives you the pricing of everything that's on there, so you definitely know you're getting your value out of that box. Also, there is a measuring portion on the box right there, so you can also measure it. Also use the hashtag that's on Instagram if you use Instagram, and kind of brag about your fish that you got with the tackle box. Of course, it also helps promote the box a little bit too, so I mean, there's definitely some good advertising in that one. Advertising by proof of quality, I guess. So there's that box. So the next one, that is $10.96 subscription. I believe this one is my November box. No, this is my December box, actually. Okay, well, we're going to go with the December box since I picked that one up first anyways. Alright, so the first one I've got is V&M. It's a drop shad watermelon. Now, this is perfect example of what you could use with your drop shots right here. This is specifically for that purpose. It's got a nice big head and body on it and a little bit of a tail, so that way you still see a bit of tail action on that one. This is a pretty cool looking bait. I'll definitely give this one a shot when I do some drop shots. Alright, so the next one I've got here is going to be a Venom, what is it, 10-inch pepper grass bait, which I haven't used anything that big before. I usually use like 4 to 6 inch worms or like a 4-inch crawfish, something like that. Even the lizards, I believe, are like 6-inch maximum, but these things are massive. And it's kind of like a pepper color, like a green pepper or watermelon color. They're pretty nice. They got a nice little sheen to them in there. The tail is kind of like a, it looks kind of like a snake, in all honesty. Is probably one of the reasons it's named Venom. But anyway, so the next one I've got, so they're all going to be not plastic worms, but actual baits from there. So the next one is going to be a Norman Lures DD22, which I've seen the champions on Bassmaster Classic and MLF using something like this all the time. So this is a deep diving right here. This is a pretty big sucker. This one is great for going about probably 4 to 8 feet of water. It's got a duck bill on it, so this is going to be more of a larger bass style lure right here. If you can see on your fish finder that you've got larger bass, or if you fished that area before, you know there's some pretty big lunkers in there. Definitely a good one to use. I like the colors on this one. Down here in Texas, your shad are usually black and white, or kind of like a black, green, and white color. So that's pretty close resemblance of what we have down here. And size-wise too is a pretty good size in comparison to the actual thing. The next one, I've never tried anything like this. This is so weird to me, but it's so cool too. It's a 3D Savage Gear bat. This is a top water bait too. This one has actually got some like duck bills on it to where they'll spread out whenever you pull it, kind of like it's trying to swim, you know, because bats, whenever they get into the water, they try to swim to shore so they can get up and then fly again out of there. Next one, this thing is huge. This would probably be awesome for trolling, actually, if anything, around islands or something like that, is the MONSTERBASS Ragnar Top Water 4.75 inch 3/4 ounce, which this thing looks like a rage crawl or something like that in the style and color. This is pretty cool looking. This thing looks like a zombie fish, if anything, which I used to be huge into The Walking Dead, by the way. It was one of my favorite shows until I started killing off all the good guys. But anyway, so that's one of the other ones I got there. The next one is actually going to be a pair of hooks. Now this one is also, go figure, for specifically just drop shots. I guess it's the drop shot time of year. Which this is a pretty interesting looking lure, or hook. So I'm gonna take one of these out so you can actually get a really good look at it and then give it a little backing here. That's what that little sucker looks like. Now they also give you a diagram back here of what it's supposed to look like when it's rigged up. I'll show you that too. And that is a standout lever action fishing systems. It's a ST4ZS1MB bass drop shot hook, and there's 5 of them in there. So I'm getting the feeling I'm definitely gonna have to start doing some drop shots this spring and summer off the boat and go from there. All right, so I got one more box for you guys. I kind of feel like it's Christmas all over again. I love getting these boxes, like I said, because it gets me out of my comfort zone. It forces me to try something new because I'm not going to just spend money on tackle and not use it. You know? It kind of forces you to be, I guess, more resilient when it comes to fishing. All right, so the first one in this box, this is, I believe, the December box, is the X Zone Lures 3-inch Ned Zone. There's 8 of them in there, and it's, of course, like I said, 3-inch. Now these are going to be more for like a Ned rig, which I don't actually have any particular diagrams or anything on how they rig these up. But you can YouTube it, or you can just Google it and do an image search on it, and it'll show you how to do it. Or YouTube will even show you how to rig one up, which I'll do that eventually if you guys want that, and go ahead and show you how I do it whenever I start messing around with it. So the next plastic is going to be a V&M Pork Shad 2.0. This is kind of like that Mystery Tackle Box one that was in there, except this one doesn't have any scents on it, and it doesn't have any other colors. That was a split color. This one is a solid color. It's the same style plastic bait on that one, just different colors. Now that also is going to be good, like I was saying, for either a Texas rig, Carolina rig, or a drop shot. It's pretty resilient bait. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I've got a lot of congestion going on, so my speech is not exactly that great right now. Okay, so the next one I've got is going to be a Booyah Bait Co. Prank, is what this one is called. It's top water with a duck bill, which is kind of interesting. I've never seen a top water with a duck bill. Then again, as I said, I don't really fool around too much with top water. So this one would probably be good for about top, or about, if you want to crank it, about maybe a foot down, 6 inches to a foot down in the water, if you want to give it a steady crank. This one, it's a pretty cool looking fish, in fact, or a little lure really, but it looks a lot like what a shad would look like here. More natural colors to it. It's got a little extra sheen and some glitter to it too, so in sunlight it'll be obvious. Okay, so one of my absolute favorite baits that I've ever used is going to be a, you guessed it, rattle trap. So I've been using these things ever since I was knee-high to a grasshopper with my dad. Bless his heart, he passed away 3 years ago. And my favorite childhood memories growing up was going to Lake Somerville in over near Brenham in Somerville, Texas, we would go over to Snake Island and we'd troll that island with a boat with some rattle traps, and it would just kill those bass. And we're not talking largemouths. It was more either a hybrid or a white bass style fish. There was very few large. The chair just broke. My bad. Anyway, so there was very few largemouth we ever caught with this thing, but I actually have caught some largemouth with. Stop it!
I can't help it.
I have caught some largemouth on the rattle traps with bank fishing. So this one is actually, it looks kind of like a fry bass or a shad, but this is more fry bass because usually the shad will have like a huge dot right in the center of them, and it's just predominantly white with black on top. Which, if you haven't tried rattle traps, they are absolutely amazing. They're very resilient. You can fish almost any type of fishing with them. You can troll, you can fish from the bank with them. I mean, the options are almost endless with these things, and I've had a lot of luck over the many years with them. So the next one I've got is a Lunker Hunt Phantom Spider, another topwater. It must be time for top water fishing, you know, because just about everything I'm pulling out of here is either it's going to be like a Texas or Ned rig or drop shot or top water. So that one is going to be interesting to use. Texas, in southern Texas, we don't have a lot of spiders like this size that I've seen out in the wilderness. I mean, I've got big hands for a guy, and that's about the size of my palm. That's a big spider, legs and everything included. It reminds me of that movie Arachnid or something like that. Horrible produced, huh?
Arachnophobia.
Yeah, Arachnophobia. It was a horrible movie back in like the 90s, early 90s. But anyway, so the next bait that I've got is actually going to be a set of hooks. It's Daiichi. It looks like it is 4/0 hooks. There's a quantity of 3 in them. And these are for like a Carolina rig on this one. So that's going to be the next ones right there for you. Now these you can use, of course, like I was saying earlier, either a Texas rig or a Carolina rig. In fact, some people even use these style hooks even for a drop shot. I mean, it just kind of depends on what you're comfortable with. Get out there, explore, try new things. Don't be content with just doing one style of fishing all the time, because the fish aren't always going to bite that one style of fish. You know, of course, you have more fun whenever you're catching fish too, am I right? Yeah, exactly. So get out there, try something new. I mean, that's one reason I love these mystery boxes, is they force me out of that comfort zone, and I still land fish all day long. I've already got my first fish at 2020, insert photo here. And so that was actually at Lake Woodlands. So I get kicked out of there all the time. If you're familiar with the Houston or the Texas area, Lake Woodlands is actually a pretty cool little honey hole for me. Right off of 45 over there by that bridge, as you're going into the Woodlands Mall, there's a pond where they used to have those taxi boats, and then there's that bridge, and then another pond on the other side of that bridge. I go over there all the time, bank fish. There was one time Green Girl and I went and I got 5 bass in one day, and I almost got 6, actually 7, because I lost 2 of them. One of them spit out the hook and the other one broke off my lure. I guess it was getting old and monofilament just didn't want to hang anymore. Anyway, so the last thing in this box, actually there's 2 more things by the way, I'm sorry, is a MONSTERBASS sticker, which that goes great on coffee cups, just saying. I've got a snap-on toolbox, so I don't like putting stickers or anything like that on it, especially since it's got a custom chameleon wrap on it. But if you have a toolbox that you like to put stickers on, I've got probably 3 or 4 stickers in 3 boxes. So that's a pretty cool sticker. The next thing is also the standard edition. This month we are featuring baits from the following brand partners: Booyah, Brattle Trap, X-Zone, Lunker Hunt, Premium Fishing Lures, V&M, and Daiichi. This also gives you a value card on it and tells you the prices of what these usually go for, so you know you're getting a good value. Usually they do a general, they round it up. They don't give you an exact amount. but this is what you'll find pretty much anywhere. Walmart, Academy, if you go into pro bass shops, you're probably not going to find anything for this much, and if you do, it's a rarity, because those are pretty expensive. But they're proven, and they're good baits. Some of them are just a little bit more expensive because you're paying for the store you're buying it from, not necessarily the brand or the style of lure. But I love pro bass shops, so don't get me wrong. I love going in there. I spent an entire day of just looking at stuff there, the one in Katy. It's amazing. My son and I went and we just looked at boats. We looked at all the fishing gear, and I spoke to a really nice gentleman there who goes up to the Colorado all the time and also goes up to the Ozark Ozark actually. He's got a cabin up there, and we spoke for a long period of time. Just very nice, very knowledgeable staff on hand, and actually some pretty good prices on the rods and reels too. Very competitive with Academy as well. In fact, some prices you'll find better there than you will Academy. You just got to know where to look for what you're looking for. So the other box that I got, I don't actually have it because I already started using the stuff, was one that she got me for Christmas. Thank you, Green Girl. It's an awesome gift. She did really good this year, guys. I got a Skill 20-volt impact driver and cordless drill, and I also got 2 boxes, the mystery tackle boxes. Awesome. Anyways, so part of what I got was actually this pair of pliers right here. Any fisherman needs a great pair of pliers, and this is actually a Danco set right here. So this one actually has a wire cutter right here. It's also got, if you have like drop shot weights or something like that, or just any type of different weights, you can use this to help with your rigging, and then another portion right here, of course, to help with taking the hook out. In fact, my first fish of the year, I did have to use this because, man, that thing was stuck in there. That fish was hungry. And then another thing, I haven't ever really used these, to be honest with you, but it's a fish holder. So that way, if you want to take pictures with them or something like that, you can actually put this on your wrist, open it up, put it, his lips right there. Just kind of have them free hang. Like, I don't like using this kind of thing though, necessarily because it has a very thin tip, so it puts a lot of pressure in a very small area on these bass lips, and their mouths they're fragile. If you tear a mouth on a bass, it's going to be a while before it can actually heal. It's probably a few weeks to about 30 days actually. So if you get a big enough tear, you can actually dislodge their lips and their jaw as well, and they won't eat, and they could actually starve to death. So if you do catch and release, be aware of that and be gentle. There's some bass that are so used to being caught, like that one that I caught. He's just kind of like, all right, dude, I know the drill. Just hurry up, please. I want to get back in the water. I'm freezing out here. I need some oxygen. Just move it along, please. So I'm not going to condone catch and release, nor am I going to speak anything bad about it. I do catch and release, and I do keep as well. It just depends on what I'm going to do. I go out with the intention of either doing catch and release or go out with the intention of keeping. Usually I go to big lakes like Lake Somerville, Lake Conroe, or this summer I'd also like to go to Lake Houston. But there's a lot of logs and submerged items over there. A lot of damage happened over this past summer with submerged logs and stuff to guys. There's even one guy who this past month has got an $80,000 bass boat with a CNC trim tab with hydraulics and all that on it. Brand new bass boat. Just broke his engine off, busted his lower unit, and damn near lost his entire boat because there was a submerged log he didn't see, and he was chugging along about 60, 70 miles per hour, and then boom, he got ejected from the boat. Luckily he had a cut off, and the guy was unharmed. He was a little shaken up, of course. But if you go out boating, guys, be careful. There's also a new Texas law that Greg Abbott put into effect this past year, that if you go boating, you will have a cutoff switch on your boat with a safety lanyard. So if you do get ejected for whatever reason, or if you get into an accident, the engine automatically kills itself. So be aware of that as well. I've got to put that on my boat because I don't think it's got it on it right now. It's definitely a safety feature that will help save lives. So be aware of that. Ignorance is no tolerance for the law. Follow your local laws. These local laws are there for a reason, of course, such as tag limits, for instance, for fish. Like there's different tag limits for different species because they reproduce different ways and different types of the season and different numbers. Like, say, for instance, a hybrid bass will produce a lot more spawn per year than like a largemouth will. So there's a lot more tag limit on the hybrid bass than there is largemouth. In certain species, the catfish, it doesn't really matter which kind, how long they are, any of that. Or not which kind, but how many you catch within reason, because they produce so many fry per year. Fawn is deer. Which brings me to a whole different side of the outdoors is hunting. But so it also, one other thing, if you haven't invested in it yet, I'm playing with this little silly thing. This is also great for keeping a record of what you're using. It's also got a little piece in the back there so you can keep your scale handy. This is a pretty good little unit for if you're just kind of wanting to brag to your buddies or something like that of, hey, look at what I got. You know, this is a pretty accurate little meter. I actually got this off of, I believe it was Amazon for like $10 or something like that. It also has a measuring tape on it as well on the side. It's pretty cool, right? That way you can brag to your buddies, hey, look what I caught, man. And you tag them on Facebook and be like, hey, so what's up? Where's your fish? I'm part of a fishing group here on Facebook in Houston. I'm not going to say which one because there's been controversy with these people on YouTube and all of that, kind of promoting that. I want you to find it freely, and I want you to be part of one that you're comfortable with. I'm very comfortable with this group, but a great bunch of guys. But anyway, so I tagged the founder and the leader of the group on Facebook, and I said, hey, so now where's your fish? Get on my level, you know, so to speak. Come on, man. It's the first day of January. You don't even have your first fish yet. Here's mine. You know, kind of putting a little pressure on him. He's like, ooh, challenge accepted. So anyways, guys, get out there, do something different. You know, if you got any free time, go fishing. Do something productive, you know, that you'll make memories with your kids or with your significant other with, you're going to cherish forever. Some of my most cherished memories are with my dad fishing. It's something that I look back on almost daily, and I thank the Lord that I had that experience with him and that I had that time with him. It's something that I've been trying to reproduce with my children as well in my own way, and give them that same cherished memories as well. So get out there, do something different. Go and try different types of fishing. Don't do just freshwater, do some saltwater too. I'm going to try and start doing some saltwater fishing. Have fun, guys. See you next time.